Uh,
Keep this one? Okay. I gotta see my report card, so I know what to improve on. Perfect.
Wait for Steve to jump back in here.
Did he leave?
Well, we switched from the,
Oh,
Extinguishers are done.
so that, yeah, so that it records.
I don't think that.
Oh, and here's the deed this month.
Okay. All right, there's ours. Yeah.
I guess I'm secretary.
And your numbers on there.
Oh, there.
I shouldn't be reading.
Go.
I do love reading.
He's funny. He's a ride.
First time I
Just to
read it.
confirm I am audio recording into that. And
Yes, that is really fun, Justin.
I just want to confirm that the meeting that we have is still only for the 2 p.m. committee meeting.
That is something that I have no idea about. I can't even run the printer at the office, so.
I understand, Commissioner. That's why I wanted to provide you a copy of that email that we tried to send off as promptly as we could. Unfortunately, well, I do have an email for you, but not for cemetery business, so I don't
Okay.
send it to your county business to commingle those
Okay.
matters.
That's why I told you I didn't get that other one. I want you to know. Otherwise, I will send back to you.
Sometimes we don't have that long to get a story out, so.
Happy Tech, we're waiting, is that correct?
Yeah, he hasn't popped back in yet. I don't know what is going on with the
Are you,
links today.
Happy Tech season's over,
Yes,
now you start on extension.
extensions and a ton of, I'll get to it right after tax season, you know, I have a pile.
And my accountant.
These
said they get
changed,
one day
didn't
off
they?
and he has an audit.
Didn't these change
Oh,
the color
no.
and everything?
They're different paper.
They're prettier.
Well, I got a couple, I got like 3 or 4 different papers now that to cycle through. And last one was like lightning bolts and whatever. And
This is kind of like the ocean.
yeah, I
Peaceful.
found that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd try that this month. Next month I'll try one of the other
Yeah,
papers.
Chair, just to confirm, do you guys consider discussions and notes regarding a former cemetery district manager to be subject to that executive session?
No.
Okay, thank you. Is there any objection to any mention of the potential implementation of a time card system and whether you consider that entirely part of the executive session?
The record keeping part of it is part of executive session, yes.
Now, the fact that you were talking about wanting to procure such a system and that being an agency goal that would, which the executive session clearly outlined should not be discussed in executive session. So is there any objection to that not being considered?
That would be a question that I would like Steve to hear.
And same would be for the mention of the agency's goal of hiring an office manager.
Because I think everything was presented in the, but I would say, I'll let the attorney.
These are very pretty.
Appreciate any clarification.
Thank you. What's going on with this?
Oh,
evening
Jeez,
today?
I think I brought the wrong one. I did bring the wrong one.
Got it, please.
Would you write down?
I may as well, we're waiting on Steve. He's having issues with the links
Send
today
you, this
too.
is the counties.
I- No idea
We
why.
don't want to have to give 600.
Maybe because we have 3 back to back. I don't know.
Yeah, so you don't want this one.
Oh, this is what you were
So
saying a
you
couple
start-
months back.
Yes,
huh?
and I have it all distributed out.
Yeah,
So these 3 sums will be on a 5-year payout.
now.
And then this would be the potential
already
that would
said
be
that was
held back
recording.
possibly
That's what I
for
thought.
next year.
Yeah.
So I have
There we
it
go.
all.
Finally make it in, Steve?
Thought I tore off the cemetery one, but I tore.
Yeah, I'm in, Jamie, but it doesn't look like it's working from the link that's in the agenda.
What an idiot.
What is going on with these links today?
The link was the link to the 2 p.m. session was included in
You wanted it for the
on the
budget.
agenda. That's your problem. We were never provided with
You know what I'm
the
gonna
link
do?
for the 12:30 session. Or the
I wonder
executive
if the
session.
man can find it.
I don't know what the deal is there.
Let me see.
Okay, so
If they are.
Any requests?
now that Steve is back in, we will reconvene the public session. And the first thing on our agenda is to approve the meeting minutes from February and March, since I forgot to bring meeting minutes last month. And board members will find those in their board packet.
I've read them. I'll make a motion, we accept them.
And I will second that motion.
All those in favor?
Hermrick, guy.
Thank you. Gary,
I'm sorry, I'm in the road. Yes.
she seconded the motion and said Hermrick, aye.
Gary, I.
Wood.
North I. Whoever.
Would I? Meeting minutes are approved. Okay, next we will move on to approval of the bills. Is there anything wild and crazy that we need to be aware of?
No,
Just a regular monthly.
mhm. Yeah, which is in there, the last few pages of what you have there, the last 3 pages are the bills that you will be signing,
Okay,
Okay,
and
which is sort of how you do it standard.
yeah,
Okay.
What is Streamline?
that's the website.
That's the
that-
website.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
okay. Only it's anything but streamlined.
Yeah.
Ace Hardware, okay.
And the MasterCard is operating supplies and repairs that are needed, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the bills as presented.
I second that motion. All those in favor?
Fedor's aye.
Hermrick, aye.
Would I? Motion passes. Next thing on our agenda is, we will move on to the reports. Financial reports, I guess, are up first, which we can do short and sweet, I think, since we're gonna be diving into the budget later anyway.
Yeah, everything looks good. The accounts receivable is up from where it was from like this time last year, but I think maybe billings have gotten better from when he took over management as well, because I've before, I think some of the billing just wasn't being tracked through accounts receivable possibly all that well, so.
So you're getting things more promptly now, you feel that makes it more accurate.
But yes, by about $15,000,
Okay,
yeah. So, all the deposits are still coming in like I would expect to see as they, people pay for their services
and property taxes up, the receipt on that's probably up also.
yes,
Okay.
I got a lot to deposit.
yeah,
We collect a penny per dollar on the property taxes for this special district.
County does.
I went through the dollars, so I know, I know everything now about property taxes, and we get a penny per dollar.
yeah, so
And
we
you're not
are,
getting any more.
Everybody gets their hand in the pot.
Pretty much.
We get 29 cents, we need more.
yeah, so far we're up from what we budgeted even as far as money that's come in,
Good. And even with our corrections in the budgets and
Mhm.
reality, that's good to hear.
yeah.
Perfect.
Okay,
And the grounds like the booth.
Yes.
Mr. Craig,
We
So-
need to approve the financial report though first. We normally do that.
I think we just do the bills and the
Yeah.
financials, just a summary
Okay.
for it.
just a summary.
Perfect.
I'll make this short and sweet.
Perfect.
So since last meeting, we've had 7 burials, 3 fulls, 4 ash, all at Juniper Haven. Scheduled a lot for the next few months too, coming up with ashes with families. So, starting this week, we got irrigation starting. And so it's gonna be a work, it's gonna be my plan is to fix problems now and not just, as they,
Blow up.
yeah, we're not gonna move on until they're fixed in the areas. It'll take a little bit longer to get up and going fully, but, I have a plan in place for that on where to water and whatnot. So mowing, weed control, spring has shown up, so the dandelions have shown up as well. And, so we've been spraying for them, and trying to get them under wraps a little bit more because they've been out of control the last few years. So hopefully we did about 65% of Juniper Haven, I would say. And so with that, we've mowed like 3 times already this year. And as well as the back field. So the backfield looks actually
Yeah,
really good
it
right
does.
now. It looks better than I've ever seen it. I plan on keeping it with irrigation. I plan on keeping from the tree line into the field, like, let's say at 40 feet of what those sprinklers can reach. So I'm gonna try to keep that green all year. Just because it looks nicer. And then trees, so I never did rent the equipment I wanted to rent, like going back into November. But we've been knocking out the problematic areas as much as possible. We haven't been able to have the time to rent it and utilize it like we should, so I didn't want to waste the money. But still, that is a plan eventually, to get the higher tree, problematic areas. Nothing new for equipment. Let's see. So what we have done since the last meeting, so I did replace a window at the shop, not the office building, but the shop off the office, because we painted that outside and that faces Main Street, so, it's just one of those areas that everybody sees first, so I changed the window because the window was old, didn't really shut anyway. So, made that improvement. I installed the garage door opener on the shop, also for convenience and security for multiple reasons. Also put in a paver path, that was just dirt before, from the asphalt to the grass. Right there, and it's almost complete, and it's still got a little bit more to do. And, and then the guys, if you're not familiar, I was gonna get pictures, I didn't get a chance to, but our pump house for Juniper Haven, it's set off the road, whatever, it's like, it's right at the bottom of the mill, if you're familiar with where they leave. So we have a little pump house there that we pump up. So the guys went down and installed steps, with some pieces of gravel or pieces of concrete that we had. Cause it was a safety risk before to get down into the pump house. And then we also installed a railing, so, just something little, it didn't take very long for them to do.
Good for you, Craig.
But we got that done, looks good too, and Powell Butte, we're still expanding now that we're gonna be out there mowing. I plan on we'll all go out, take the mowers, line trimmers and the excavator and work on the expansion more and more as the spring kind of unfolds.
How many, just a guesstimate, how many graves are out there?
At Powell Butte,
Yeah, do you have a guesstimate?
I have no clue. I would say,
Quite a few.
well, 1,000 maybe?
No, there's quite a few.
Yeah, there's quite a few. I mean, but
Decent sized cemetery.
I think I'll open up about 500 more spots with that expansion or so. So currently I would say around 1,000 maybe, but I can figure that out though.
Oh, just to get, I've never been out there, I just.
Oh, you haven't been
Find
out
the
there?
grave will tell you,
Find-
find the grave
Oh, okay.
online, it'll tell you that.
How many are in there, really?
I was just
I never noticed that.
We have 11,000 records.
Wow.
Wow, that's a lot.
So I mean, like with all the cemeteries, so.
Sure.
with the expansion in Pellview, I was putzing around online the other night. This is currently on Facebook. And this is what, I
Oh,
included.
that's like the compost.
It's
bathroom.
it's the modular bathroom. All the electrical, all the plumbing is done. You just have to hook it up. So,
But what do you hook it up to, like a big?
well,
Does it have a price?
yeah,
What's it roughly?
it was like 2,000. I can look. real
In
quick.
comparison, it's $115 for a porta potty every month.
Wow.
So,
You go through that pretty quick, but what do you put that up to? Do you put it up to a big septic tank with a leach line, or how do you
I
do that?
don't know.
Compost, is that what you said?
It's
How
not
is
a
it compost?
composting.
You don't wanna
Yeah,
go
it's
into
not a
that.
composting one. You would either have to hook this into a holding tank,
Okay.
Okay, like,
which I think commercially we can do because we are a commercial entity.
Yeah.
We checked into that.
Yeah, we just didn't go to the planning
That's
commission.
very
That's the only
nice.
thing that I had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's already all done.
The county planning
that's
This
commission?
one,
Well, we'd have a little clout there.
Could be.
for
If
this
someone
particular
would go
one,
back on the planning commission, no hints there, but.
Nope.
$2,695.
That's not terrible. at
No,
all,
you'd
by
go
no
through
means.
that at 115 for a porta potty, you'd go
Yeah.
through that pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, the
Yeah.
holding, the tank, digging that, I planned on that anyway, and then, but that's roughly, that's cost effective compared to me building a couple sheds with like roughly the same thing, more or less. But That's very cost
The only
effective.
thing I could see that we would have to do is make sure it's ADA compliant. Cause there's no
That
handrail,
doesn't- Yeah, that doesn't look really wide enough.
but they have a,
I bet they have.
yeah.
yeah, they,
Oh, I'm
I've
sure
seen-
they do, but this doesn't look wide enough.
I'm just
for 'em. A
saying,
wheelchair.
that was an example of one that I found, of what I was talking about. I'm pretty sure they make them ADA compliant,
Oh, I'm sure they do.
and
Everything. in there is
really,
ADA.
that one wouldn't be that hard to make ADA compliant. It's every bit as wide as like a stall in a bathroom for handicapped individuals. We just have to install the handrails and such and make sure that there was a
Do
ramp.
yeah.
Yeah.
You just have to
Yeah,
make
we have
sure you have a
all-
radius of 5 foot so they can turn. That's the biggest thing.
well, and I'll have to look into, like, cause I know the ramp part, but there won't be. My plan is to have it towards the back of the cemetery, so it's not like there's a path per se, you know? So that's where my question, I guess, to the planning commission would be, is what makes it, to make it compliant.
It
Well,
would have to be accessible for them to come pump it, so an outfit would have to be able to get to it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
you might
which is-
you actually might need to put it more towards the front,
Yeah.
because if it is ADA compliant, if they couldn't get, you know what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say, to the back, and Gary's right, in order to pump, so you might need to maybe
And,
put it to a corner where they
Mhm.
could drive. I'm just saying,
yeah,
you might need to
Well, and-
refigure that out.
I was also thinking, I wanna ask the planning commission about the, if. Like, cause we would wanna secure it when it's not being used, you know,
Yeah,
obviously,
that's-
like, and
yeah.
which could be when we're only doing services.
Well, maybe you just put a combination lock,
Mhm.
and then you tell the people having the service what the
Alright.
combination
Yeah.
is. It's just like
Yeah, yeah,
today, I went to the doctor and there's a restroom there, and in the doctor's office, it has a combination. I don't know if they change it.
Gotcha,
You know, and then you tell the people the service, and then maybe
Yeah.
every 3 months you change the combination, then you don't have random.
Yeah.
But of course, that is hard if you go to visit the grave.
yeah, yeah,
That's the only thing there, but.
You could probably see if it was being abused.
yeah.
Just
Oh, that was the whole
try
reason I
on
wanted
there.
it
Well-
towards the back, because then
Right.
it's,
Which I agree, but then ADA compliant
Yeah,
and that, I'm just wondering if you could do you have any trees out there? See, I
Yeah.
need to drive out there.
Yeah.
If you could maybe put it where it was a little hidden or something. maybe.
I'll take you to Pal Butte if you take me to Paulina. I haven't been to that one in
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah, I've never been to the top view.
it's pretty nice,
Where is it in conjunction with the community center?
right down the road, same road.
Really? So I
It's-
just
you
haven't
go
went
up further.
farther.
Yeah, you go to the
Just
it doesn't dead end, it turns into a dirt road for the neighborhood,
Okay.
private road, and
I
we're,
just
it's
haven't
right
been far
there.
enough. Okay.
Yeah, just, it's in like quarter mile past that intersection to go
I
down.
need sustainability for the community center. Is there any way we can make it a toll road so I can give some money to the community center? Okay,
Another finger in the pot.
I'm sorry, I
Open
have a lot of
Open up a,
problems there.
shooting range, like for,
There you go.
crap shooting. I've always thought that that would be a great spot for that.
There you go. My next question for you, Craig, is when are the guys planning on going to Howard?
Um,
So-
to Howard?
Yeah, to do what they were gonna do.
Well,
Clean up and
they've
stuff.
done one day up there and cleaned up quite a bit.
Okay,
And just, we were waiting for the nicer weather,
okay,
because it's still been getting really cold, so
yeah,
I am. Soon, today, they actually went up to Polina today and mowed and
Yes.
line trimmed today.
Thought maybe they were moving them out. You didn't give Juniper Haven, Pell Butte and Howard, we didn't get Polina.
Well, it was there, I just forgot, I totally spaced talking about it. It is in there.
Now what are the deer and the elk gonna eat?
I did talk to, a
Oh,
gentleman
DFW?
with, the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation.
Yeah,
They wanna know some particulars, so when we're ready to do the fencing, we need to get those particulars, and then, they would be very interested in helping out with that.
what are the particulars they need? Cause Casey, they've got them right across the street in the meadows.
Well, we need to know, one, who's paying for the fencing.
So I talked to Fish and Game and I need to forward the email to you. It has specs on, game fencing. They may have material
Oh,
for the fence.
Cool.
It's just
Oh.
what we want it to look like. I mean, if it's a game fence,
It's gonna be tall.
it's just a game fence. So I mean, I don't know if that's what we want around the cemetery or not, but so the avenue there to get the material and the support from Fish and Game, it's in place. So
Okay.
it's the labor of
Awesome.
putting it in, which is your Rocky Mountain.
Do you think it would be that bad to have a game fence up on that? I mean, I don't see an objection to it.
I
Put a
kinda-
Powder River Gate there?
I kinda think people, that's an attraction for being buried in, Paulinas, that the elk do get in the cemetery. I think,
I hate it.
and they.
Jamie, you know, when we first moved out there, I thought the elk were beautiful. And then when you're there for what, I don't know, how long do you think it took
1
Andy
week.
and I to, yeah.
1 week.
And then you don't like the elk anymore. So you just need to be out there for a
right,
few
I
weeks. and then,
think, yeah, and in talking with the gentleman from the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, I told him, I said, I think some people like the idea of perhaps, a great big bull elk laying on their grave. I said, what we don't need though is the elk destroying the fence so that the cattle can get in there. I said, that's where the problem is.
So my deal on that with what you just said, I'm not concerned with a game fence. I'm more concerned about having a fence where livestock can't get into it and we have a direct boundary around the
Right.
property. Deer and elk passing through is just exactly that. They're passing through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do damage in there, but, I'm fine. I just think we need a fence to keep the cattle out because they can do the most damage.
Right.
I know our little cemetery, they got the gate, somebody left the gate open and they knocked all the markers down.
Yeah.
The cows rub on them.
Now, see, at my house, it's kind of the opposite. I wouldn't mind elk in my yard, but my neighbor's cattle,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
So I put in a fence that the cows can't even get their head over.
yeah.
But
No, if ODF and W would give us a game fence, I don't see a problem with that. I mean, so what?
Yeah, and I think they would. I mean, I think they're
I
pretty
mean-
proactive.
I mean, we have game fences out there. I mean, that's just a normal part of life,
yeah, out there,
in my opinion.
so, okay,
Okay, well, that's a good thing. So maybe we do have a fence and they could put it up.
right, yeah, they just want the particulars, who's providing the fencing, how many people do we need, when are we doing it?
Perfect. That's very nice of them.
They actually help build elk fences in Polina.
And it could even potentially make Bugle magazine.
We don't want Polina discovered.
Thought it already was. Okay, so next thing on our agenda, old business. Update on the website and email accounts. I gave both of you guys your email stuff last meeting. I understand that some of you might have issues with the,
I have
Do we
issues
have
with-
emails? I
I'm
hope
gonna
not.
have you
Are we supposed to
have-
check them?
well, yeah, I gave you guys the paperwork for the district emails.
Are we supposed to look? Where do we look?
I gave you the website. I'll forward you the stuff again so that.
No,
you
I
have-
have the website, because I looked at the website to see where
Right.
the meeting was. Then where do I look for it?
Your email is published actually under your picture on the board of directors page.
And then I click on it?
You can click on it to send yourself an email, yeah.
But it won't work.
But how do I find if somebody has sent me one?
So I'll send you, you have to go through Microsoft 360, or 365, whatever. And, log in that way. So I'll send you all the new, cause I'm sure your password's expired by now.
They are.
Send you guys all the new login credentials so you can get in and start
Okay,
checking your
I could
email.
have, I could have.
Jamie, if you're fine,
Have you ever, have you done that?
I tried. So if Jamie's fine, after the meeting, I will have her set mine up on my
Sure.
phone.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, thank you.
Nope, not a problem.
It's
Okay,
beyond this feller, so.
Well, no, if you would send me a link.
Yeah.
then yes, then I'll try to. I'll
I
set
can
it
do
up.
that.
Perfect. I didn't know we were supposed to set up. I could maybe have emails and don't even know it.
I haven't really got, I've got one or two, but, that's about it. It's been pretty
Okay.
quiet.
Okay, people probably think I'm not very nice. I bet. Okay, yes,
Okay,
please send me the link so I can know that.
perfect. I will do that. Streamline, that is who our website is through. All I can
So
say is,
that's the money there.
yeah,
Okay,
it's not very streamlined. It's quirky. Some things it likes, some things it doesn't, and I've had to fight it a little bit. So right now, with our meeting recordings, we've been posting them to Facebook. To post them though to the website, we can't just do a Zoom link. We have to, if we wanna have them accessible on our website, we're gonna have to actually either set up a YouTube channel of our own and then link through it that way. Or I think, I'm trying to remember the name of the other service. It's not as well recognized. I was going to use YouTube if you guys are okay with that, because I know you wanted the video recordings on there.
Through our website.
Right,
If I'm good with that, whatever needs to be done to get
Okay.
that up and going, I'm fine with.
okay,
that's all gobbledygook to me,
Yeah,
so
me too.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
So
okay. I
I
just wanted
will
to make sure,
parlay onto someone else. I know that.
it's just one more
I
account
know
to
we
manage.
use YouTube, so I'm assuming that's the way people should go, but I
Yeah.
have no idea.
It doesn't like, maybe this is what happened with the meeting links today. If you try to do multiple things and use different links and such, I don't know, it doesn't like that, and it'll just keep repeating the one. I need to go in and change a bunch of stuff maybe in the settings. Like I said, it's not very streamlined. So that's all I've got on that. Next thing is our new shiny media policy adoption.
Okay,
We have a resolution 25-001, which is adopting policy governing news media attendance at executive sessions and adopting recognized news media representative application. So I will just read the resolution really quick.
and this has to do with what you have passed out previously, right?
Yes, this is what
Okay.
we were given by Steve last month. Whereas the Crook County Cemetery Improvement District, otherwise known as the district, desires to adopt a formal policy to govern news media attendance at executive sessions and news media recognition application. And whereas the League of Oregon Cities has developed a template for news media attendance and application form for news media representatives. And whereas the district's board of directors, otherwise known as the board, instructed the district's legal counsel to prepare a district news media attendance policy and news media recognition application form based on the League of Oregon City templates. And whereas the district held a public hearing to consider the draft documents at its March meeting, and whereas no member of the public testified at that public hearing, and whereas as a result of the public hearing, the board approved the news media attendance policy and news media recognition application form with minor changes, and whereas the attached documents integrate the approved changes. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Crook County Cemetery Improvement District Board that, one, the board adopts the executive session news media attendance policy attached as attachment 1, which is the paper I gave you guys. 2, the board adopts the recognized news media representative application form as attachment 2. 3, this resolution shall become effective immediately upon its passing. So introduced and adopted this day of April 2025. All those in favor of adopting this resolution? Or does anyone second it, I guess?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
And this was adopted, this was through Steve's office.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So,
So this is, just to be clear for the record here, this is the policy that you all approved at your last meeting and directed me to prepare a resolution so that you could formally adopt it as policy.
and it was read, okay, now this is my only question on the resolution. So this resolution was, I don't remember, was it read at the March meeting?
It was
Because
not.
read
It's not
twice.
It's not an ordinance, so you don't have
It
to read
only
it
has to
twice.
be read once.
Correct.
Okay, that's all I wanted to make sure that we're doing it the proper way. Okay, then
Yep.
I'm fine. All righty, Hermrick, aye.
Bedore thought.
Would I? Motion passes, resolution has been adopted. So I will have you sign that, Gary, and then Susan. Okay. Media policy adopted. Okay, then we will turn it over to Gary and Craig for the paving update.
Oh, sorry, Susie.
I'm okay.
Didn't quite get it there.
We actually have news this time.
Good news.
So I'm not the professional when it coming to explaining how it all works, but Jerry has a little more grasp on that. But, and we stepped out some of the length of which we want to get done. Got to do a little bit more. I'm gonna get like full, eventually soon I will get like all the footage wise. And then I will be taking over some numbers to Brad, and he's gonna do on his magical calculator, figure out, and then I know what we have to talk about it and try to figure out what our budget is gonna be, which is the next meeting, so. On that, so we have,
Don't have the numbers yet.
So we do.
yeah, a little bit, yeah,
We met with
Brad,
and the county will let us piggyback on a contract with them, and they pay most every year. He gave us an old rate, and it was like 165. That's not cast in stone, that's just for budget figuring. So it's 165 for 8 feet wide, 10 feet long, 2 inches thick. It'll be a two lift. They come and do it twice. He recommended that's what we needed. So,
if per ton is that price, yeah.
yeah, a ton, that's per ton. That's how much a ton will do. So we met with him, not a problem to do that. So Craig, we did do a little, like you said, measuring on what was supposed to be done on the last contract. And when you do a little rough figuring, I don't have the numbers with me, but it's not that bad. It's a pretty reasonable paving job.
And I will abstain because obviously this is the county that's involved,
Mhm.
so I will abstain from any of this discussion.
But I think you can have your input on, do you think it's a good budget item? Do you think it's something that we need to be doing?
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
abstain totally,
Okay.
and I was legal counsel was that anything to do with the county that I needed to get out of, so. And out of it.
I do think it's a good budget item. I do think it definitely needs the paving does need to be done.
Yeah.
I think we need to figure out what we want to accomplish this year and, figure out what that will cost. And see if that's possible.
So that's where I think we gave the update. I think the budget hearing is where we're probably gonna discuss, this is a
Right.
rough figure for what it's gonna be, what else we need to put on it, but that's sort of, we do know the county is willing to do it. It sounds reasonable. There was one other thing, we don't have to deal with it yet, but he suggested we start doing a cedar coat 3 years after we do our original paving, and that's just hiring a contractor to come in and do it, and it's pennies on the dollars for the maintenance of the asphalt. So that's something the manager's gonna have to start putting on his schedule to keep on that and come to us with a budget item, or we need to get this done.
And as a personal person who has had my driveway paved, I do know that is true, because in another year I have to have my asphalt filled.
And he said it makes a big difference.
Yeah, it does. It does. Keeps it from falling apart.
Yeah,
And what's the cost look like on that?
it was pennies
Yeah.
compared to this.
Yeah, he said it was very cheap.
And
In-
it makes your asphalt last longer.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
need to do
I
it.
mean, and in 3 years, it would be, hopefully we'll be doing more than just the one stretch, So it would be like, we would have to get onto a cycle where it's like,
Yeah, you want-
I'll have it all done at the same time.
You'd be
so.
foolish not to do it
Yeah.
because you're preserving it.
And I did drive around with Craig, we didn't look at the whole cemetery, but I can see where we need to put a goal together to get X amount done each year as long as we can afford it, because all of them are getting pretty tired up there. And it's just not that, it's in town, it's a very aesthetic value, or a very, it's much more attractive, I guess you could say, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one of the bigger complaints now that I hear from people. It's like, it's great to the office, but then after.
As long as you keep sealing, when you keep adding, it's
Yep.
just gonna
Yeah.
almost stay, but you have to keep the sealing up.
Mhm.
And you do it in the three-year cycle.
One thing I wish we could maybe talk to the county about, and it may go along with this, is like down at the far end by, Republic Services. Having them come through every once in a while with one of the street sweepers. And clean out the entryways from all the cinders and then all the pine cones and.
I didn't
No,
hear you. I didn't hear you.
Yeah,
I
no,
didn't-
which,
can't hear
when
you.
I
Which
go,
I'm saying we could pay for, I think it
That,
would,
I would think that's mostly city though, more city than that.
I don't know, I'm not,
I'm not,
sure.
well, I think.
I think that they have a street sweeper across the
I
street.
think
from
they're
us.
gonna find is that the state or the city and the county is going to sweep their roads, and it's your maintenance once you get off the act. And I agree with you, but
I mean, it's something
It's
I
like
would,
snow removal.
yeah,
My
I would be
question-
willing to
my
pay
thing
them
would be
for.
Form a relationship,
Yes, yes.
but that is not,
And that
and
started today.
again, I can't be in any of
And,
that.
and that
So
definitely
right.
started today.
And to answer your question on Sweet Street, the county was very explicit on, we cannot contract to you. We can, but it is very convoluted. And
Okay.
so they just said you really need to piggyback on the contract or hire somebody else to do it. Is that how you took it?
Yeah, oh yeah,
It was it's just
a lot of work. A
yeah,
lot of extra
there's a
work.
name for it when it comes to the counties aren't allowed to do private or
Right.
we're not private, but they still consider us outside the county's preview.
Okay,
So it's a good idea for Jimmy.
okay,
So Gary, I want to be clear on that. So, what is the county suggesting in terms of how you proceed?
We just need to get the square footage of how much,
Yeah.
what we do, line it out. He'll come up and take a look at it, and then he'll let us know what it's gonna cost. And then he includes us in the contract that he puts out.
With a third party paver?
Yes.
Is that the idea?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we will get billed, I think from the third party, not the county will get paid from the other, and we pay that bill.
Got it. Okay. Do you know the magnitude of what you're talking about dollar wise here?
It's probably gonna exceed 20,000. I mean, it depends how much we decide to do. So I mean, I think about the cheapest, when I did a little rough arithmetic, it was 15,000-16,000, but I may have made a little bit of a mistake, so. You're wanting to know because of the limit?
Yeah, right. So you've got up to 25,000 is when you kick into the intermediate procurement range, which is
And
not a big deal because you just informally solicit 3 different proposals, and this would be proposal 1.
I got you. So even if we piggyback off another government entity, we still have to get 3 bids. So do they have to get 3 bids?
They probably are using a formal procurement process if they're doing a bigger paving project. I wouldn't be
Which
surprised if,
So does that mean they're getting other bids besides this?
yes. Yeah, my guess is
So
they've probably done a sealed bid approach.
would we not fall under that same preview as far as they're getting the correct bids for the project? Would that not
Could you
constitute?
piggyback on that? I guess I'd want to know what process they're using, but
That's
maybe.
fine. I
Yeah.
follow what you're saying,
I,
so.
yeah, I think it would be pretty easy just to make a phone call to a couple of other paving companies and say, this is how much square footage, this is the number of lifts. What would you charge? That's probably the quickest and most expedient way to do it.
All right, well, I'll try to remember that, and Greg will, because I told him I would give him a hand when he gets down to, if we decide to put it in the budget. I told Greg I'd help him measure out and come up with the numbers and go back and meet with the road department, and he indicated that that was acceptable. So
Okay.
if that's the case, we'll see what the rough number is gonna be, and then have to come back to the board with what we're thinking.
Yeah, sounds good. And if you're below 25K on the total, then
Okay.
you can just do sole source.
Sounds good. Thank you on that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, moving on, new business. The only thing I have today is SDAO sent out a email here a few weeks ago about they have consulting services for employee handbooks. And we have been using the counties, and I know that the county has been updating what they're using. But I'm wondering if we could get a digital copy of their
Oh, good, no, you're just.
old
I
one.
I can't be involved in any of, so you gotta ask them. I can't be
Okay.
involved in anything to do with the county, period.
Okay,
So pretend I'm not here. I'm just
So-
invisible.
Is that, if that's the way you wanna go, Jamie, do you wanna go down and talk to HR, or whoever handles it, and see what you can work out with them?
mhm, I can.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, cause these guys, with the SDAO, they don't write it for us, but they help us write it so that it works for us.
Yeah,
And like I said, I know we've been using a copy of the counties. But I thought perhaps if we could get these guys to help us tailor that more to us. So that it's technically our employee handbook, that would work better.
okay.
Cause I know we do things a little bit differently than the county does now.
Okay. Well, I don't deal with handbooks, I mean, I'm just not familiar with that, so I'll defer to you guys
Okay.
on that one.
Yeah, I can, if Susan can tell me who to contact, I will definitely talk to them and see if we can get the ball rolling on this, and then I will contact these guys and get going.
Okay, and how does those meetings work? Does the board have to be involved in this process? What I do with it?
There's several meetings that we do, they work closely, this thing says basically they work closely with us. The first meeting, like it says here, is an introduction to the process. Meeting 2 is to review and revise sections 1 through 10. Meeting 3 is for sections 11 through 20. And then, I don't know that we're gonna need 20 sections,
Yeah.
cause we're kind of small.
Yeah,
But they set out a time frame about 4 to 6 months. And like I said, they help us get it written and tailored to us.
okay,
Then that way we have our own employee handbook. We're not piggybacking off the county anymore.
is there other cemetery districts that have a public handbook already written?
That I do not know.
We wouldn't have to reinvent the wheel if there was something out there that was already in place, and if they would let us copy it somewhat,
Wouldn't
might
Steve
save a
know?
lot of steps.
I know Steve has had a lot of trouble when it comes to finding stuff for cemetery district. Isn't that correct, Steve?
Yeah, I think SDAO would probably know. You could even have them put a word out to the other cemetery districts potentially and use them to ask that question, but they may
Okay.
have an idea what the answer to that would be. I do recommend that you use a tailored handbook as opposed to a county handbook. Your operations are very different.
Okay, I
So maybe
can,
that would be a better way to go, is to go with the SDO
okay,
handbook
I will, contact our guy, Mark Knutson
and ask
at
for him.
SDAO and ask him about it.
Cause we have thrown out one of ours basically and we're redoing it, so.
Okay. And so that's all I have. Does anybody have anything else they wanna throw in the pot?
We have public comment.
Nope. Okay, so then we will open up to public comments. However, I have not received any requests to speak forms. And we're following our rules of decorum. So since I don't have any of those, I guess we will move on to board member comments. And Susan, you said you have one?
No, I don't. Actually, though, before the budget meeting, I brought the wrong paper. I thought I brought the Pacific Power for the cemetery district, but I brought the one for the county, which you really don't want to see. So I'm gonna step outside real quick and call Brianna and try to get our cemetery.
Okay.
And can I ask you a question and a board comment, then, since we're getting ready to do budget,
Okay.
have we ever heard from the state on whether they want money back from us?
They do, and that was what I brought, but I
Oh,
brought the county
okay.
one, and you don't want to see what they want
Yeah.
from us.
Oh, Lord.
Because you would be very upset. So this is the deal with Pacific Power. Basically,
That's right, that was
it was Pacific Power.
I got
They have not answered, the court case has not settled,
okay,
so it's not a settled thing yet. But the assessor has figured out what everyone will owe.
yes,
So the first year, and they're thinking it's gonna come out this next year, the first year they'll hold back this specific amount of money, which I had, which like I say, I have the counties, it's gonna be held back. And then you have 4 other years that you have 5 years to pay for. And I had those sums and I had it stapled together and I thought I put the cemetery on the bottom, the back sheet. So I tore the back sheet off, copied it real quick and ran out of the office, but I have the counties and you don't want the counties. So I'm gonna call Brianna real quick and have her email me the cemeteries, because I wanted it for the budget so that we had the ability to process that.
so I will ask them, when it comes to budgeting, has the courts been very specific on the county owes it or each of the districts?
Each of the individuals, because we
entity.
can't cover the
I
whole
just
thing.
wanted to make sure, because, okay.
We can't, I mean, we got a gob to cover, the city's got a gob, so everybody that got Pacific Power, now there's small guys like Alfalfa Fire.
Yeah.
They're not gonna be able to cover, we're gonna have to take
Yep,
them
I
on.
understand.
I mean, we're gonna end up taking on
Yep, I was just,
some of the really small guys, and actually I had that sheet was my cover sheet.
yeah,
And there's some of those small guys that we're gonna eat,
yeah,
but like you guys, you get a penny, so you're gonna, basically it's around 10,000.
yeah.
But basically, yes,
Yeah.
but you'll have 5 years on those. Well, I'll just show you how it's
That's fine,
gridded.
go
out.
ahead and get it for us,
But-
Susie, and we'll do it.
Yeah.
See, it's gridded out like
Yep,
this.
gotcha.
So this first year will be liable for, and then these other years, you have 5 years to pay.
Okay,
So I wanted to bring it, and I thought I did, and I wanted Shara to have it
Yep.
so that we could kind of put it over the broad thing, and of course, I gave you the bad one, which you don't want to see, Shara,
No, no.
because you would flip over. So let me call Brianna real quick, and I'm pretty sure she can find it in my office
are
really
we done,
easily.
are we adjourning our meeting then before we leave, Susie?
Oh,
Well, did
Okay.
you have a board member comment?
I do not.
Okay, so I will adjourn this April session. Meeting is adjourned.
and then I'm gonna try to get this sent to me real quick.
Okay, Steve, I will jump to the other one, the other link here in a few minutes.
Do you guys want me to attend the budget meeting?
That's up to you. If you feel the need to be there, then, that's great. If not, we'll just carry on.
Either way, I'm available, so I'll drop in.
Okay,
Thanks.
Thank you, Steve.
You bet.
He said he wasn't getting back on.
he said he would drop in.
Oh,